Hello, this is Brian with the Precision Marksman channel. This channel is primarily dedicated to precision AR shooting and low development, but a good friend of mine stopped by a couple days ago and he shoots a 6-dasher. And as most people know that are shooters, the 6-dasher is known for its accuracy. What we have in the vise here is a 28-inch barrel Bartlane, M24 contour, 5R rifling, 1 7.5 twist. This barrel actually was cut before his other two barrels, and the other two barrels we've actually shot one of them and we've measured both of them. So what we found in his first two barrels, they're both 1.25, so straight. It's thick, heavy all the way from the start to the end. They're both 28-inch. They're also Bartlane barrels, same different twist. It's a 1 7 twist, 5R rifling. Those were cut the same day with the same reamer. So what we're hoping is that this barrel is going to have basically the same throat and the same bullet contact with the lands as his other two previous. So with those two barrels, because they're 1 7, and they're basically just competition barrels that he's going to use for either PRS or tactical, this is going to be kind of a universal barrel. It can be used for precision. Can be used for a shooting competition. It can be used for varmint shooting. So what I'm going to show, this is a well-used Hornady lock and load gauge. We have a 6-dasher. I actually got this case from Unknown Munitions. This is a non-fired, so it's going to have a setback of about 5 thousandths from a normal, if you were to shoot a dasher round in here, which is fine. What we're trying to do is find what I call light jam or hand jam. Some people like to do a really tight jam. Some people like to do the finding just the lands. Well, it's hard to find the lands unless you actually take the barrel off like we have and put it in a vertical vise like I have this AR in. Then you can find, that's probably the easiest way, and some of you may have watched Speedy's video with Eric Cortina. Speedy's an excellent, he's a world-renowned shooter. There's lots of good guys out there, but I'd say his video is probably the best to find just touching, but most people don't have a barrel vise like I do. And so what we have is I'm going to show you how to find it without a barrel vise. And generally, when I stick this in, and I'm going to jam it in there, that's going to be about 20 to 25 thousandths off of what I would call just kissing the lands versus a light jam of about 20 to 25 thousandths. So we'll start with the bullet in. We're going to stick this bullet in the chamber. We're going to make sure it spins freely. You can see it's hit against the front of the chamber. I'm going to take my hand and hold it in place. I don't want it walking out. I'm going to loosen the brass screw here. I'm going to push this in with the palm of my hand. I'm going to stick the bullet in the barrel. While I'm holding it down, I'm going to tighten this. I can feel that the bullet's stuck in the barrel. I have a cleaning rod here. You can use a 6mm or a 22 cleaning rod. I'm going to pull out the case just a little bit so the bullet's still in there. I'm going to make contact with the bullet. I'm going to push there. You can hear the bullet pop out. I'm going to hold the bullet so I don't drop it because this is easy to drop. Now that would be what I would call light jam. I got the dial caliper here. And we know that the other barrel was about 2.450. So we're hoping these are going to be close to that. This is 2.458. 2.457. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to write this down. I've already taken several measurements to test, and it keeps coming out between 2.448 and 2.457, but I'm going to do it again and show it on camera how it's done. So you can see the cleaning rod's here sticking out. I want to pull it back about 4 or 5 inches. The bullet's going to be recessed. Going to make sure this is tight. That's locked in. That's going to go in here. Again, I'm going to hold it with my hand, loosen the nut, push this in, jam it in there, tighten that while I'm putting pressure on it. Pull it out just a little bit. Take the cleaning rod. I can feel the bullet. I'm going to push the bullet. Okay, felt good so far. No bullet was dropped, which is good. I'm going to take the measurement again. 2.454, so very good. That's 3,000 shorter than the previous one. And so the maximum, I measured a couple times too, the maximum difference I'm seeing here is under 10 thousandths, and most of them are within 2 or 3 thousandths. So what we're going to do is, you don't want to seat the bullet that tight. You can see it was stuck in the lands. So we would come off at least 20 thousandths, and we did this with his other barrel. The beautiful thing is we can use, the gunsmith that cut this barrel didn't even use the same chamber. I didn't use the same reamer, but it basically created the same chamber. So we're within a couple thousandths, and we don't want it right at the lands. In this case, I want to have his gun shooting between about 10 and 30 thousandths off the land, especially if it's going to be used for hunting. Because if you shoot it touching the lands or just into the lands as the throat wears, and they all wear as you shoot them, you're going to have the scene, and they call it chasing the lands. I don't want him to have to chase the lands. And let's say this gun is shot at some point with a suppressor. You're more likely to get a carbon ring, which is going to be more likely to stick the bullet in there. So we want reliability, but we also want accuracy. So this is actually a 109 Berger long-range hybrid. Has a BC of .568 G1. So the G7 is about half of that and add about 3%. But most people are still used to the G1 BC, and that's what most of the bullet boxes are. Now we're going to do the same thing with the 105 Berger hybrid, which I have here. You do the exact same process. I have another chart here that I've already created. What I'll do is I'll actually take an ogive measure on that, because the ogive is much more consistent from bullet to bullet. These bullets can vary a lot more over overall length. And when you're dealing with an AR, you're dealing more with an overall length issue. You can't really seat a bullet into the rifling with an AR and have it feed. With a gun like this, if you were to seat this into the rifling jammed as much as you want, it'll still fit in the magazine, because this is a very short case. So this gun is dictated by the rifling, and an AR is dictated by the magazine length. So in a nutshell, this is a quick video on how to find the seating depth of a competition barrel. You can use it on a hunting barrel. We happen to be using a competition barrel. Very important, very easy. Now we're going to go to the range when the weather gets a little nicer, and see how well this gun shoots with a known load and then a new load we're going to create.